Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you on behalf of Ørsted. I'm very pleased to come today and give you some real-life examples of where I hope we can support and see Korea moving also in the future. Special thanks to Harold for organizing and inviting us to this great event. Some very interesting speaks and presentations so far. I've been listening carefully and really enjoyed the input also for us to bring back as a private company to further support the development and growth of the industry as well as renewable energy. Let me start with a small story here, looking at the photo as up on the screen here. Only a few weeks ago, I was on that vessel, as you see in the background, spending 4 days together with all my teams in the Taiwan Strait. A few hours flight from Seoul. But as you can see on the screen here, things can be realized and things can be very specific. What I did spend those 4 days on was to look at the guys crawling the turbines, the offshore wind turbines, as you see in the background. And every time I go out, every time I go offshore, it reminds myself why I'm in this company, why I'm part of this industry. Because it really brings me a lot of pride to hope and give something for the future generations. And for the same, I hope Korea and the development of different industries and the renewable energy sector can realize itself over the coming years. So, without giving a long speech on myself, I wanted to refer to what the ambassador said earlier today about 6 years from now, we are hitting 2030. I've been spending almost 20 years building, operating offshore wind farms, and I can assure you that time has passed extremely fast. So in that sense, very strong policies, very strong regulatory frameworks, but also a lot of speed is necessary. And the examples that I bring today from Taiwan is obviously a journey that we have been on since 2016 and continue to be on. And at the same time, of course, establishing ourselves to be extremely motivated and supportive for similar development happening here in Korea. Our ambition as a smaller Danish-originated company is actually within the next few years, as I would say, to build out up to almost 40 gigawatt. And that is just a small, humble contribution from our side. Parts of that, obviously, should be happening here in Asia Pacific. But at the same time, we do fully recognize the effort and the challenge to bring ourselves there. When all that is said, I would say just looking at 24, this year, we are building up to 7.6 gigawatt across the globe. So at least we are moving forward. We are realizing some of those renewable energy capacity that we have promised ourselves, as well as we have promised different countries that we are part of. For us, Korea is not a new place to be. We have been here for a long time. We have worked with many of your dear suppliers across the country, and will continue to, because this is really much a joint effort across a lot of the speeches that we heard today, the politicians, the framework that needs to be established, the private sector, and both us as a developer and an operator, but together with these very, very strong suppliers that is already existing and already delivering into a global footprint of the renewable energy sector. So in that sense, we will continue our effort to work with these to evolve and develop the market towards 2030 and onwards. So the most tangible and the most specific example I can bring today is obviously the market and project development that we as a company are looking at, trying to develop the Incheon offshore wind farm 1 and 2. a bit outside, I would tend to call it far offshore, which we have a lot of experience in when it also comes to Taiwan and for the rest of the world. So as such, the construction and the future operation of the Incheon offshore wind farm is obviously something we know a lot about. Before we get there, of course, we need to work closely with the government, with the authorities, with everyone to ensure that we get the right outset for this project, because it has many perspectives, not just for us as a business, but also for Korea as a society, and of course also as a future for the renewable energy sector in this country. So again, back to my most recent experience, having spent the last 5 years in Taiwan, where these guys, some of my guys, have been now operating the offshore wind farms for some time. As part of that, we actually also made a case study. And we did that because we didn't just want to show off that we were capable of bringing some European experience and bring that into Asia and show how we can build and operate a wind farm. But what we wanted with this Taiwan case study was actually to ensure that people understood why and how we actually also creating a long-term sustainable footprint and an industry that can last forever, so to speak. The very most tangible example we have here, and the timeline as you see on the right, is obviously our Changhua offshore wind farms in the Taiwan Strait. Taiwan Strait, as you might know, is a very windy place, which is obviously making a lot of good sense when you want to build offshore wind. At the same time, of course, we wanted to ensure that we are building these and constructing, operating these wind farms in a very, very sustainable way. So with the timeline, we started off in 2018, and only recently we got to a point where we could actually fully confirm that we were having the entire wind farm connected to the grid and in full operation with the teams that you saw before. So what does this case study tell us from a sustainable economy point of view? First and foremost, like we built to operate for the long-term perspective. The organization that we are building in Asia, but also in specific in Taiwan, is there for the next 25 to 30 years, which obviously also gives a great opportunity for not just career opportunities for young and like talented people in Taiwan, but hopefully also eventually you will see the same attraction to the renewable industry here in Korea. Secondly, and most tangibly, is of course how much energy we are producing of clean and renewable energy. And currently, with that single wind farm, we are delivering clean energy for up to 1 million households per year. At the same time, the challenges that we may have had in Taiwan, where we didn't have the same level of mature supply chain, that's exactly where I see Korea being on the front. And I hope to also see that we can take some huge steps in concern of project and market development because of that. In Taiwan, and with the case study that I refer to, this is a continuous effort to mature the supply chain as we move along, as we operate these wind farms. And then, very important, that this is not just about green energy and clean energy, it's also about a sustainable society surrounding that. And thereby, a lot of job creation is of course important, because otherwise we cannot get the support from the regulatory side, from the political side. So we have spent a lot of time throughout the last couple of years to ensure that we actually, what we say, we also take action on and create those jobs. And last but not least, of course, as you put here, 1.75 million tons of annual reduction of CO2 emission, and that is only for that single wind farm. with that, I think I managed on time 8 seconds before closure. So thank you very much for listening.
Well, thank you very much.